morning and welcome to another edition of the External Bum Show. I'm Ralph Williams. It's great to be here this morning. Waiting for my guest Leo Haggerty to come up. Leo's one of the co-hosts here on the show. Scott Morganroth's on his vacation and doing his thing with the draft and traveling around the United States. Him and Candy Ebling. Oh yeah, and they deserve it as well. So, all right. Today, we're going to talk about some of the bums in this draft. As you know, the draft was last week, and there's been a lot of talk about some things that have gone on in here. Today, we're going to go over all the first-round picks of every team in this year's draft. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the Steelers stuff, and we'll pick Leo's brain, see what he tells me about Tampa Bay as we go along. All right, and then don't forget tomorrow morning, the Telling It Like It Is show with me, Ralph Williams, Leo Haggerty, every Saturday morning, 10:30 in the morning. All right. My bum this week in sports has to be some of the players who didn't get picked in the first round that should have. All right. There are a lot of guys that slipped that were supposed to be in the first round, and they slipped to the second, third, fourth, fifth round, whatever it was. And some people were just simply put into, different perspectives as far as what has gone on with some of this stuff. All right. Some people were rated in some certain round, others were not. Okay. Some of the ones who were supposed to go in later rounds went in the first round. Okay. So my bum today is the fact that some of these guys who were supposed to go in the first round ended up going in later rounds. All right. Comment section is wide open. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios. 724-2010-500. Call Mata today. Ask for Bill. Tell Bill Ralph Williams sent you. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. All right. Okay, folks. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the draft and a whole lot more coming up here. The thing that bothers me is, those of you who don't know, the Pittsburgh Steelers have decided not to do the fifth-year option on Najee Harris and on Justin Fields. Now, I don't know what kind of thinking this is. I don't know if they think they're not going to have the salary cap money for it, or they just don't value the running back position. Here's a team that wants to get started back running the football. So if you're going to run the football, then why in the world are you getting rid of or not giving a running back his option? Why? Tell me. Somebody please tell me why the Pittsburgh Steelers are not given the option for this. All right. Now, last Tuesday, I had Ray Fittipaldo on from the Post-Gazette on the radio show, and he was talking about how, the Steelers were looking for linemen in the draft to replace people like, Nate Herbig and James Daniels if they leave, because they're in the last years of their contract. And the bottom line here is that, okay, we can't. The Steelers need to do more. All right, the Steelers have done a lot, but they need to do more. And when you go and you tell your star running back, the guy who starts at running back for you, that we're going to do a power running game this year and we're going to run the football, and you go and you tell him forget about his fifth-year option. Okay. So everyone's out there going, all the pundits out there and all my other media people are going, oh, well, he has something to prove this year, because if he doesn't get re-signed, well, there's no panic in that. Steelers can put him into a franchise tag, which means there's lesser money to have to be paid out than what's in the fifth year on his thing. They can do the same thing with Justin Fields. Okay. But what I'm angry about is the fact that they just brought Justin Fields here, and he hasn't even put the pads on yet to get started playing for the Steelers, and already he's been informed his fifth-year option is not being picked up. But can the Steelers afford both of them? I don't know. All right. Well, we're going to find that out. Okay. All right. You have a bum you want to talk about here? Comment section is wide open. If you have a bum, somebody in sports that you think is a complete bum and you really don't like, there's a lot of them out there, of course. Most of them are professional football players. There's a few bum baseball players out there. Okay. Got guys making a lot of money in baseball that are out with injuries right now, or stinking up the joint. Okay. Not playing to their performance. You want to talk about them, you're welcome to do that as well. All right. All right. When we come back here on the External Bum, we're going to talk about the NFL draft and a whole lot more coming right up after these words. Draft412.com is a website that provides you with all of the best information about any draft, NHL, Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, any kind of draft. 412.com has an e-magazine delivered to your inbox for $9 a month. And also they give you all the skinny and on all the athletes and also podcasts. Draft412.com. Let me talk to you today about the original Hometown Pizza in Moon Township, right on University Boulevard. They have some of the best pizza you'll ever have. 412-264-4444. Call for takeout, delivery, or eat in. Go to the original Hometown Pizza today. Mention my name, Ralph Williams, and you will get a discount on your bill. Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, some of the best of the original Hometown Pizza. All right, we're back here at the External Bum Podcast show every single Friday, 11 a.m. right here on your social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms. It's just going to be Leo Haggerty, Scott Morganroth when he gets back, and myself. The reason why is JT told me he has other obligations on Friday and cannot attend the show. But we're going to have some visitors in between. All right. But as of right now, it's going to be Scott, Leo, and myself. Okay. So, which is actually still a good crew to begin with. All right, let's take a look at the first round of the NFL draft. And I'm talking about other teams other than the Steelers. Caleb Williams went to Chicago. Now, did Chicago have a good draft? Well, let's see what Chicago did. I mean, they had the first pick in the draft, and then they had the 9th pick, and they went and they got Rome Odunze, the wide receiver from Washington. So we'll start off with the Bears. They had those 2 picks in the first round, and we're able to get 2 good players. Okay. Does that improve the Bears? Maybe. Okay. But Matt Eberflus and the Bears, Matt Eberflus, he's walking on eggshells this year because this is like his 3rd season, and he really hasn't done squat. And the general manager there needs to do something as well. They fired Luke Getsy, their offensive coordinator, all right, who has moved on. So with that, the Bears need to really do something this year. Washington, new coach Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. Now, everyone says this guy is a little too small for the NFL. But I know quarterbacks that have been short for many years and have been able to make it in the NFL, including Doug Flutie a little bit. But there's other guys other than Doug Flutie who are going to. Bryce Young, look at him, from the Carolina Panthers. He's not a big guy. What's he going to do this year with Dave Canellis at head coach? All right, let's find out what this kid is made of. Dave Canellis can make a quarterback. He's a great coach at quarterback. Look what he did to Geno Smith in Seattle. Look at what he's done to Baker Mayfield down in Tampa. This guy can coach a quarterback. Now that he's the head coach, that even makes things even better. But see, my concern is there's a difference between being a head coach and the offensive coordinator. There's a difference between being the head coach and the quarterback's coach. You're the head coach. You have to be involved in everything. You can't just sit there and be involved in the offense and not know the defensive players' names. I've seen too many coaches do this over the years, and that's what happens. All right, next, New England. Drake May, quarterback out of North Carolina. New England needs a quarterback. They got rid of Mac Jones. They traded him to Jacksonville. Jarrett Mayo or Jarrett Mayo or Jarrett Mayo or whatever the mayonnaise that they're calling him, okay, all right, is the new head coach at New England. He was promoted from defensive coordinator. Actually kind of shocked the heck out of me, but it didn't. Take a look at the long list of New England Patriot assistant coaches that have been head coaches. Have any of them other than Bill Belichick succeeded? No. Name me one that has succeeded. Name me one that has taken their team to the playoffs or to the Super Bowl or anything like that. Name one of them. No, there are none. There's no New England Patriots coach that has at all in any way, shape, or form taken any assistant coach that has turned into a head coach, or was a coordinator and turned into a head coach and did nothing. Look at Josh McDaniel. I call him Josh McDummo. Look at Matt Patricia. Okay, look at those guys. All right, there's been a few more. Brian Flores really was not that. I mean, he was an average coach when he was down in Miami. Should be the defensive coordinator and assistant head coach here in Pittsburgh, but that didn't happen. Now he's in Minnesota, and he's defensive coordinator. Okay. Take a look at Joe Judge. Take a look at some of the other ones in there. There's a few I'm probably missing. What was that one kid's name? That one guy's name, Mangino or whatever, Mangini. Okay, remember him? Yeah, he was a flop too. Anybody that was ever an assistant or assistant coach with Bill Belichick was a flop. All right. Next, Arizona, who I think probably had the best draft. They made a lot of draft picks. They had a ton of them. Jonathan Gannon down there this year should have a pretty decent season based on the offensive weapons he has. He has James Conner, he has Tyler Murray, and now he has Marvin Harrison Jr. to add to that fray. Their offense could be could be decent this year. We have to see what their offensive line looks like. All right. And I think in the later rounds, they drafted a tight end. All right. So Kyler Murray has some weapons now, more than just James Conner. Okay. Down there in Arizona. I'm working on getting Cornelius Brad Hanna, and he is with ASAP Sports. I'm working on getting him on the radio show on Tuesdays, Beaver County Radio, Sports Corner Radio Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoke, and Jim Frazier, 4 to 6 p.m. Our fine producer, Ryan Karazun, is also involved in the show. Join us every Tuesday. If you can't get the signal, it's 99.3 FM, 1230 on the AM down Western Pennsylvania. Then just go on Beaver County Radio's website. Or if you can download the phone app into your phone, you can listen to me every Tuesday. And then also www.rwmedia.org. And push on the bottom button there, it says Beaver County Radio, push the live button. You'll go straight to the show. We're also live during the show, and you can also watch it again on your own time. Beaver County Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel. All right. I post it many times on my social media platforms. This week, I have Noah House coming on to talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then I have Matt Venzel coming on because not too long ago, we had a closing press conference from Kyle Dubas and the Penguins. He's going to come on and talk about that because I was focused the last few weeks on the draft. So I didn't get a chance to get Matt on right away after the press conference. But we're going to talk about that. Artie Source from another one of my national sponsors, Galaxy Sports, will join us to also talk about the draft and some other national sports news as well. Also at 5:30 p.m., as part of our Wrestle Talk segment, I have Daniel Polinsky, who is a wrestling promoter. He will be in studio with me. He's a wrestling promoter in Western Pennsylvania. He has his own wrestling company, and his son is Corey Graves. So this is going to be one phenomenal show, and all my shows are phenomenal to begin with. Okay. So, but anyway, there's a, it's every Tuesday. And if you don't tune in, shame on you. All right. All right. Next, the LA Chargers, brand new coach, Jim Harbaugh. Okay. Arizona drafted Marvin Harrison. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was Arizona. They drafted Joe Ott, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. Justin Herbert needs some help on the offensive line. To me, that was a good pick, but it was just not that great of a. I thought it was a good pick, but it wasn't a splashing pick that I thought Jim Harbaugh was going to do. But you know what? LA Chargers might surprise a few people this year. New York Giants, Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, LSU. I thought the Steelers could get Malik Neighbors. I was wrong. Smoke and Jim Frazier, my co-host, said Malik Neighbors will be gone way before the Steelers even did that. So it was their turn. So, all right, next, Tennessee Titans drafted J.C. Latham, another guy that I thought the Steelers could get. He was gone in the seventh pick of the draft with this. Now, Atlanta Falcons here. This here is puzzling. And, well, not only that, let's talk a little bit about Tennessee Titans real fast. They have a new head coach. It's Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan is the former offensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals, and his dad was Bill Callahan, who probably is his offensive line coach there. Okay. Brian Callahan's been working in he's been working in Cleveland for a little while as their offensive line coach. So I'm not sure where he is now, but I do know he's probably going to work with his son, which of course nothing wrong with that. But J.C. Latham, offensive tackle, Alabama, that should help their quarterback situation when it comes to the offensive tackle. He's a real good offensive tackle. All right, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this here pick has me puzzled. You just spent $188 million on Kirk Cousins. $108 million on Kirk Cousins. And you draft Michael Penix. So my question to Raheem Morris and the rest of these people here in Atlanta is, what was the purpose of this? Now, I get it. If Kirk Cousins is hurt, your $108 million investment manages to get hurt, and he is injury prone. Okay. Do you have somebody to back him up? Because you have nobody there right now. Atlanta has nobody. Okay. And Raheem Morris is a okay, yeah. All right, we can do that. Leo will join me at 11:30. So, okay, great. All right. So anyway, as I said before, I think that Atlanta with Michael Penix probably isn't a bad idea. But it was what they call a head scratcher. You scratch your head because you don't know what the purpose of drafting Michael Penix was all about. Okay. All right. The Bears again picked right after Atlanta in the 9th spot. They picked Roman Odunze from a wide receiver from Washington. I don't have a problem with this pick. The Bears need some help at offense. And as I mentioned earlier in their first pick, Matt Eberflus is walking on eggshells there. He's got to do something. All right. Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy, quarterback, Michigan. They need a quarterback. They have a bunch of guys who are journeymen, a bunch of guys who basically, are mediocre type quarterbacks. So by drafting J.J. McCarthy, they have an opportunity now to build another legacy of the Vikings, and that's if Kevin McConnell can do that. Kevin McConnell has so far laid an egg. And what I mean by that is they had an opportunity when he was his first year as a head coach, and they had that great record. They went almost to the NFC Championship game and got beat. Okay. The bottom line is you don't just make it to the or the NFC Championship game, you make it to the Super Bowl. And that year, they were up 13 games. They were 13, and I can't remember what it was at the time, or 12 or whatever it was. They ended up losing the last 4 games, which, sometimes that happens when you're up. Look at the Steelers. What year was that? They were up 11-0. And then they ended up being, I don't know, what was it, 12-5 or something to that effect. I don't know. Okay. But we'll see where they go with J.J. McCarthy. They desperately need a quarterback. They traded Kirk Cousins, got rid of his salary and his whatever. Okay. Next, the New York Jets. Olo Fashuni, offensive tackle, Penn State. Now, this guy is a really good offensive lineman. Okay. He was rated in the top 5 in major draft publications. This guy is not too bad. So this is actually a good pick for the Jets. Question is, can Aaron Rodgers stay healthy? Are we going to see a little more of my buddy, which I doubt it, because they got Devin Cook there, of my buddy Izzy Abanikanda, former Pitt running back who broke a lot of records. I know he's been playing special teams there, came in for an occasional run or two. I'm looking to see what Izzy's going to do this year. That's my concern with the Jets. But I know Aaron Rodgers is Robert Saleh's job up for dispute. He's been there, 3 years? They haven't made it to the playoffs. All right, and he's had some bad experiences with quarterbacks. They got rid of Zach Brown. They traded him to Denver. So we'll talk about Denver's. Well, in fact, we can talk about Denver because they're next. Guess who their quarterback is? They drafted Bo Nix. Denver in the 12th pick of the first round of the NFL draft, they picked Bo Nix, quarterback out of Oregon. There's been some mixed reviews about Bo Nix, that he was supposed to go in the second round. He was supposed to go in the whatever round, but he ended up in the second round. Okay. So with all that, Bo Nix is now with Denver. Zach Brown is with Denver. My question to Sean Payton is he going to be able to fix the Denver Broncos? Is he way above his head? Is he just there to put butts in the seats? Oh, it's Sean Payton. Oh, he coached for New Orleans. Oh, he was the offensive coordinator with Dallas for a long time. He did this. He did that. He was this. He was that. Then he got out of coaching, walked away from the New Orleans Saints. I guess broadcasting was boring for him. So he decided to come back to coach with Denver. And the first thing he does is get rid of Russell Wilson and his salary. Hey, they're paying the Steelers $38 million. They're paying him $38 million. He's with the Steelers, and the Steelers only going to pay him $1 million. How do you like that deal? And he'll be our starting quarterback this year. Okay? Getting back to the Steelers for a bit here. With Justin Fields, with Russell Wilson, I think this team can really do something this year. Now, my co-host Smoking Jim Frazier says that the Steelers are going to Super Bowl with this. I'm going to say this once, and I'll probably have to continue to say it because nobody understands what I say sometimes anyway. The Pittsburgh Steelers will never go to another Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin. And the only reason they have is because it was Cowers players. All right. There's been bad draft after bad draft after bad draft after bad draft when Mike Tomlin doesn't control it anymore. It's Omar Khan and Andy Weidel. All right. And that's what goes on there. So just a little tidbit for you. Bo Nix, Denver Broncos. Zach Brown, Denver Broncos. Good luck, Sean Payton. Next, Las Vegas Raiders. Drafted Brock Bauer, tight end. They got a new offensive coordinator down there, my main man, Alex Van Pelt. Okay, watched him play football at Pitt. Is a very good quarterback offensive coordinator. He was up in Green Bay with Mike McCarthy for many years. He's been around the league. Unfortunately, he got stuck in Denver, or I'm sorry, not Denver, Cleveland, with Kevin Stefanski, who, in my opinion, is an arrogant jerk. Finally, this year, you got to see him in the war room because they had some picks. They just didn't have a first rounder again. Why? Because of Deshaun Watson. Don't you love it? All right. Anyway, we're going to see what Antonio Pierce does down there in Las Vegas with the Raiders. All right. A lot of people don't like that hire. They think they could have went out and got a different, a better guy to be the head coach down there. Okay. We'll see what happens with that. The year hasn't even started yet, and already they want Antonio Pierce fired. I get it. Next, New Orleans. All right. Jalis Fawuka, offensive tackle, Ohio State. Well, New Orleans they got to bring some guys back. They got Derek, what's his face down there? Derek Carr. Okay. They got to do something to protect him. They still got Jason Hill. They got a few other guys down there. All right. Dennis Allen, I would assume, is probably on the chopping block too. He's another eggshell quarterback or head coach I call walking on eggshells because he hasn't done anything there. And this is his second stint as a head coach. He was the head coach with the Raiders. Okay. Long-time defensive guy. Nothing wrong with Dennis Allen in that regards. Just a horrible head coach. That's all. Indianapolis. Shane Steichen is their head coach. Former offensive coordinator with Philly. Leota Latu, edge rusher, UCLA. Okay. Speaking of this, getting back again to the Steelers. They drafted one guy in the draft for defensive tackle. They have issues on the line. They got an older Cam Hayward. They don't know what they're going to do with Ogunjobi yet, who did nothing last year or this past season. Okay. And there we are. All right. We're coming into the season. We got Cam Hayward, who again is a good player, but is up in age. We don't know what his cardiovascular is. We don't know how much more longer he's going to be able to play. That's going to be the biggest question of the day. Okay. You got to bring in some more guys. We got guys behind him that are bums. All right. Downright bums. And, I call them Tomlin bums because that's what they are. They're guys that Mike Tomlin keeps on the team that are nothing but bums. They contribute nothing. All right. And there's a few bums on there that need to go. And maybe, and you never know, teams do this, everybody. And what they do is they come up with this, they have these undrafted free agents that come out of the draft that were not picked. And then there's also, and I keep saying this and people think I'm crazy. And I've said this many times, you got guys that'll be coming out of the draft, out of the free agency because of the draft. And they want to get rid of these guys. All right. They don't want them on the team. They figure they got the guy they want in the draft that can replace them, and that's money they can save. It's all about the salary cap. All right. All right. Next, Indianapolis needs an edge rusher on defense. They also have Anthony Richardson at quarterback, and they just signed Joe Flacco. All right. So we'll see where Indianapolis goes from there. Seattle Seahawks, new coach Mike McDonald. All right. Formerly the defensive coordinator with the Baltimore Ravens. Byron Murphy, defensive lineman, Texas. I saw this coming. Mike McDonald is a defensive coach, and we're going to see how far Seattle goes this year. This will be the first time in many years that Pete Carroll is not the head coach at Seattle. All right, Minnesota. Once again, the 17th pick, Dallas Turner, edge rusher out of Alabama. Dallas Turner, very good defensive player. Again, Minnesota didn't do a bad job in their draft either. Minnesota and Arizona, as far as the NFC goes, probably were the two teams that really, what I call, drafted up and really did a good job of bringing a lot of draft picks that they probably do need. Both of these teams, I know Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell has to be walking on eggshells too because he hasn't done much, as I mentioned earlier when I talked, so. But anyway, hold on a minute. I got to respond to Leo here. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's move on to our nemesis here in Pittsburgh, the Cincinnati Bengals. Amarius Mims. Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking the guy we wanted, Amarius Mims. Okay. The concern I have with Amarius Mims, he's only played 8 games at the position. See, and a lot of people didn't look at that perspective. People didn't listen to that perspective. They kept going, well, Amarius Mims, real big guy, boy over, bulldozer. Yeah. But do you think he's worth a first-round pick because of his athleticism? But he's only played 8 games his entire collegiate career at Georgia at that position, which is left offensive tackle. Since he needs help in the offensive line, many years now since Zach Taylor's taken over, their offensive line stinks. Even when they went to the Super Bowl, it stunk. Okay. They have Joe Burrow running all over the place. Why do you think Joe Burrow's hurt? Because they can't get a good offensive line in there. That's why. And they got their offensive line in the Super Bowl against the Rams got exposed. All right. Speaking of the Rams, the LA Rams, Jared Verse, edge rusher, Florida State. Rams need some defense. This is Kevin McVay's very first-round pick since he's been the coach. Not only that, there was a couple years, the Rams didn't even have a draft because they traded them all away for veteran players. And what happened was, they went to the Super Bowl, but the veteran players got hurt. Okay. Couldn't contribute, and they didn't have no backup because they didn't have a draft. He gave away all their draft capital for veterans. Well, now he's starting to get involved in the draft. All right. It's that simple. All right. When we come back, shortly here, we should have Leo Haggerty. He'll be on with us momentarily. Right after these messages, we'll finish up the first round and talk with Leo about the draft right after these words. Ralph Williams here today to let you know that I am handicapped. I'm in a wheelchair, and I will not deny it. But I've had some recent inconveniences lately. So, you know what I did? I went out and I reached out to foldandtravelmobility.com. Foldandtravelmobility.com has some of the best folding power wheelchairs. Look, do you not go to certain events because you can't get there or you can't make it because you need a folding power wheelchair to put in your vehicle? Well, guess what? Foldandtravelmobility.com has the right model for you. Get in touch with them today. Foldandtravelmobility.com. Get on the phone, 1-877-GOTFOLD, foldandtravelmobility.com, 1-877-GOTFOLD. Let the experts help you get into a folding power wheelchair. Don't be sad. Be glad. Let your life get back in order. Foldandtravelmobility.com. Do you drive a dirty car? Why? You need to have your car detailed and detailed by professionals at P6 Auto Detailing, New Kensington, Pennsylvania. Call today, 412-965-6578. P6 Auto Detailing. They are the professionals at detailing cars. That number again, 412-965-6578. P6 Auto Detailing in New Kensington. Hello, Ralph Williams here to talk to you today about Sleep Pittsburgh, 8th Avenue Homestead, for the best selection of affordable mattresses, day beds, lift chairs, futons, and more. Check out sleeppittsburgh.com for their inventory or call 412-462-7858. They also offer no credit check financing and a whole lot more. Sleep Pittsburgh for the best sleep tonight. Let me talk to you here today about Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. They have the best technicians to handle your furnace, air conditioner, UV lighting, snow melt, much, much more. Call them today, 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. You can also catch them on Facebook at Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Mata, you oughta call Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. All right, we're back here at the External Bum Show, and my co-host, one of my co-hosts, Leo Haggerty, is here. Leo, welcome, and how was your trip to the draft, and how did everything go?
Well, it went really well, Ralph, and sorry I'm a little late getting on today. Had to stop at the doctor and got a little long, so my fault. But
No, I know how that is. I mean,
yeah.
So.
Well, I'm glad to see you back after your excursion last week. My Lord, what
Yeah.
happened?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you, I've been telling the building here for months, and probably since I've been living here. There's a handicap ramp, and I couldn't get off the ramp because there was a car parked there. So I
Yeah.
tried to go off the back end of the ramp, and my scooter flipped over. I was on my way up to my vehicle, and the scooter was on top of me for a few minutes. The fire department had to come lift the scooter off. Lift me off the ground and get me up into a gurney. I ended up getting I decided to go to the hospital to get checked out. And fortunately, I'm glad I did. My sugar was way high because of this incident. And then on top of that, I had some issues with my blood because of this. Now my right knee needs to be replaced because of this.
Boy.
And with the scooter hanging over, it's bad enough. My knee's bad as it is. And then now I've got it somewhat of like a little groin or a pulled hamstring in my right knee or leg. And the knee needs to be replaced. I found that out yesterday, and I have to lose about at least another 40 or 50 pounds before we can go into surgery with this. My right arm is bothering me from the scooter, being the weight of the scooter being on me, and I'm stiff in pain, but I'm still hanging in there. I did the radio show on Tuesday, so I'm all right. Got out of the hospital that Saturday, the Saturday after the accident.
Good to hear.
So.
I hope you got a picture of the license plate of the car that was illegally parked.
Yeah, we did, and we got I'm taking all kinds of pictures, consulting with an attorney. This is negligence of the building. We've been, and I've got one of the radio guys here at one of the other competing radio stations helping me out as well. he does investigative reporting, and I told him about what happened. I sent him a picture yesterday of our back security door. It hasn't been worked on in 2 years, and it's just been a mess. So, I mean, and
But other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how'd you like to play, right?
yeah, exactly. There you go. All right, I was going over the first round of the draft, Leo, while I was waiting for you to come on. I've made it to the um, L.A. Rams at number 19 before the Steelers. I know Tampa. How did Tampa's draft go for you? What are your thoughts on Tampa's draft?
Well, you know what, Ralph? I gave them a solid B. Not because
Okay.
they drafted anybody great, but they drafted for need. And they got Barton in the first round. Uh, and he's a multi-hyphenate offensive lineman. He can play tackle, he can play guard, he can play center, which is what they're looking for. They're looking for somebody who can do, multiple tasks, because with Hainsey having to start at center, Hainsey was their backup guy at all 5 positions. Now, what that does for your listeners and viewers is if you've got a lineman that can back up at all 5 positions, that means instead of dressing 8 guys on game day, you only have to dress 7. Your 5
Right.
starters, a backup center, and then your other backup at the other 5 positions. Because
Right.
if you get 3 guys hurt during the game, you're screwed anyway. So just
Yeah. Right.
that
Right.
covers everything. So yeah, that was a good one. Maybe a little bit of a reach with the kid from Alabama in the second round, only because, again, Ralph, I learned my trade from Carmen Perone. He was the head scout back in the 60s and 70s for the New Orleans Saints. And he said, your first round pick has to play right away, unless it's a quarterback. You can sit them. Nowadays, you may not even be able to do that. You may have to only sit them for maybe 6, 7, 8 games or whatever, but
Right.
you can sit them. The second guy, anything in the second round, they got to play. And I think this guy's going to be a situational rusher. He's going to be an edge guy. He's a speed rusher. He may come in on, second and long, third down passing situations, which gets them on the field. And it's amazing that, Ralph, they took all big time players except Jason Light always drags out an offensive lineman from one of those smaller schools. He got Ali Marpet from Hobart. He had Monk from NC State, or not, North Dakota
North
State.
Dakota. Yeah, I wanted the Steelers to take him last year, and you guys took him ahead of us. So.
Just for not having 2 front teeth. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
best
I know.
part.
Yeah.
And they had Alex Kappa from Humboldt
Yes.
State.
Right.
So now they got a kid from New Mexico. And for some reason, Jason Light can find those diamonds in the rough
Right.
in the offensive line at the small school. So I gave him a solid B.
I gave us a B minus. I wasn't real pleased with the last 2 picks. I thought they should have try to get the 5th and the 7th round picks back, and then that way we could have 2 extra picks and could get some better talent. We lost out on a lot of talent because we didn't draft. I mean, the players we got are, in the first round we got, of course, Troy Fomalu, who I think that was a very good pick. Okay. He's a multiple player. He can play offensive tackle. He's played center and around the rest of the positions. Okay. And Mike Tomlin likes mediocre Mike. I'm sorry. He likes those position flexibility. Zach Frazier, center from WVU. I thought that was a good pick. We needed a center. We had him as targeted. We didn't. In fact, we picked him ahead of. I'm sorry. Powers Johnson got picked ahead of him. So I mean, and Barton got picked ahead of him. So I thought we were either going to take Zach Frazier, that Van Pran kid from Alabama, and he didn't go till a late round, Van Pran. So, then we got Roman Wilson from Michigan. He's a good wide receiver. I think he's going to be pretty decent. We got Peyton Wilson, linebacker from NC State. If he stays healthy, this kid could be another T.J. Watt, or could be another, Nick Herbig like we have on our team now. Just a nice, young, good player, but he has to stay healthy. And then we got Mason McCormick, who I said they should have drafted, but I didn't think they were going to take him in the 4th round. He's an offensive lineman from South Dakota State. Mean, nasty, just like Mock, come from one of the small schools, up there in the Dakotas. They always pump out the offensive lineman. And this is a head scratcher. Logan Lee, defensive tackle from Iowa. Hasn't played the position very much, and he's small. He's only like 280. They're probably going to ask him to put 20 pounds on or something. We needed help at defensive line. I thought we should have drafted that, try to go after that Sweat kid from Texas, 346, my kind of guy, about 6'6", really, great like a nose tackle. We need somebody like that to clog up everything. And then 6B, Ryan Watts, corner from Texas, another what they call a sixth-round pick that got bumped way down because of some injury or something, Wonder League test or something he failed, and he ended up in the 6B round. I give him a B minus. That's just my thoughts on this.
Yeah, you know what, Ralph? What people don't understand is that from the 3rd round to the 7th round, from a team standpoint, all you're trying to do is replace a larger salary with a smaller salary and an equivalent talent-wise, because now it gives you more flexibility in signing
Right.
players. So yeah,
Right.
and I use Rondé Barber as a perfect example, right? Rondé was drafted like 5th round. Nobody thought he was going to play. In fact, he was only active for one game his rookie year. It was a playoff game in Green Bay. He sat the whole season. Didn't have a good second season, but then again, all of a sudden, the slot corner, he created the position. And all of a sudden, Rondé Barber is a great player. He's a Hall of Famer. Did the Bucks think that? Probably not, because they would have. They'd have drafted him higher in the 5th round. So,
Right.
people who say, oh, they got a diamond in the rough. No, they got lucky, because that's what happens. You're just trying to replace talent with lower salary with equivalent talent. That's what's happening. Because if you're getting starters in the 6th and 7th round, Ralph, you're not a good football team anyway.
Right, exactly. All right, let's we finished at the LA Rams at 19, the Steelers we just talked about. Miami, 1st round, Chop Robinson, Penn State edge rusher. What do you think of that pick?
A project, only
Okay.
because he's so raw.
Right.
Has all the tools, just doesn't have all the techniques. I think they'll give him time to do that. Again, he's got to get on the field, or
Right.
it's a wasted pick. Dolphins lost some good defensive linemen, so he's got a shot to get on the field. So it's going
Yeah.
to be interesting to see.
Philly, Quinion Mitchell, who I thought the Steelers might have been able to get, but they didn't, or they didn't draft him. Cornerback from Toledo, I thought he would drop to the 2nd round. He got picked the 1st round by Philly, and then in the 2nd round, Philly picked Connor DeJean or Cooper DeJean from Iowa.
Iowa
My
safety.
co-host Smoking Jim Frazier wanted us to take him. Yeah, and I thought Philly probably had the best draft of them all, just these 2 players. I mean,
Oh,
they beefed up their defensive backfield. What do you think?
oh yeah. And what I like about the kid from Toledo
Uh-huh.
is he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder, and from what I'm being told, he has a phenomenal work ethic.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
cover guy, a lot of instincts. DeJean, same thing, makes up for what he doesn't have in raw speed with some great
Oh,
talent and
I heard he's
intellect.
a great tackler downhill and all that stuff. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you
So,
what, I'm going to take another one the Eagles took. They took Shipley out of Clemson.
yes,
And
Shipley. Yes, that's another good one. Yes. Yeah.
here's why. Running back now in the NFL is a misnomer. You better
Yeah.
be a blocking back, a catching back, and then a running back, because it's going to be real simple. And a lot of these running backs in college, they wash out because they've never had to pass block. I can remember one of the best pass blockers for a running back was Warwick Dunn. He was
I remember
unbelievable
work
for
done.
his
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
He was a great pass blocker. In fact, when I was at our lads, we had him rated as the best player coming out in the draft. That
Wow.
was how good we thought he was. And
Mhm.
again, Shipley's a pass blocker. He's a excellent receiver coming out of the backfield. He's a very good between the tackles runner, and he's a kickoff returner. So yeah, I think the Eagles got an A minus just on those 3
Yeah.
picks.
Right. Yeah. Because, yeah, I forgot about Shipley. Thanks for reminding me about that. Okay. Jacksonville. Brian Thomas, junior wide receiver, LSU. I think that's a good pick. Brian Thomas is him and Malik Neighbors, both getting drafted in the first round from LSU. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and he's a tall wideout. You know
Right,
what
right,
what they have is they lost Ridley, but they're going to replace him maybe with a better player. You know, fast as lightning, tall. It's what Trevor Lawrence needs. He needs a big target out there because he's used to that
right.
coming out of college. He's always had tall wide receivers. Then he came to Jacksonville, kind of had to work his way around. But I'll tell you what, if Lawrence is completely healthy and Etienne is healthy, all of a sudden they've got a bevy of receivers that they can work with. So, yeah, that's a good pick by Jacksonville.
Okay, next, number 24, Detroit picked Terrion Arnold, cornerback, Alabama. Do you think this is a reach? They needed a corner, but the other two weren't available, or the other one wasn't available from Toledo. I'm surprised they didn't take Cooper DeJean when he was sitting there. What are your thoughts on this?
It's only a reach, Ralph. The kid doesn't play right away.
Right away,
Again,
yeah.
that's the key, and we won't know this.
But
All of
Detroit had
our
a good draft though too, because they needed some defensive help because they lost Cam Sutton. And you're not going to believe this, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are in talks to bring him to Pittsburgh, but he's going to be suspended. But the Steelers are always good at bringing back veterans on the cheap. So I think Cam Sutton's willing to come back on the cheap, clean up his act a little bit. And I know he's supposed to serve like either a 7 or 8 game suspension, I think. But the Steelers are talking with him. And they're talking about bringing back Patrick Peterson on the cheap, too. And I really wish they would have went into this draft and got more corners instead of worrying about these two guys, you know.
Well, you know what, Ralph? I'm going to back up to what I missed, all right? When you look at what the Falcons did, and everybody's
That's
saying,
a head scratcher. Penix, man,
well,
they got a $108 million guy down there. I mean, come on.
it's only a head scratcher if you don't know the backstory. And the backstory is this, okay? If Cousins is the guy, and I'm thinking he's the guy that's going to take them to double-digit wins in the playoffs,
Right.
they'll never be drafting 8 for another 3, 4, 5 years. The Falcons made a brilliant move. Now, it's a chancy move, but it's a brilliant move. They said, okay, we've got a franchise quarterback that just fell in our lap at number 8. He's there, okay? He's
Right.
got some health issues, but a lot of them do. But here's the other caveat. Rumor has it that the NFL is going to punish the Eagles for tampering with Saquon Barkley and the Falcons for tampering with Kirk Cousins. What we're hearing is they're going to lose either the first round draft pick next year or multiple picks in the next 2 years. That's going to kill them. So
Yes.
they said, all right, we got the shot. Cousins can be here for 2 years. He may not be the best quarterback, but he's the most cerebral quarterback of anybody. What a great guy to learn from. If they can sit Penix for 2 years, Cousins, they're off the hook for the contract. He can go someplace else. Penix walks in at 25, and for the next 8, 9, 10, or maybe longer, they got their franchise quarterback. And Ralph, from what I'm hearing, that decision was made by the owner, Arthur Blank. Plain and
Oh,
simple.
okay. All right. Okay, next, Green Bay. Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle, Arizona. Green Bay got to protect Jordan Love. He's coming back for another season. He had a pretty decent, I'd say, actually good season as a full-time starter. But we'll see. Green Bay usually chokes in the playoffs, which they did this year. We'll see what happens with Green Bay and Matt LaFleur and them.
Yeah,
Tampa.
and you know what? You got Bakhtari, who's been hurt, so they had to look
Yeah,
for somebody just in case he can't come back.
he can't come back. Yeah, yeah. Tampa, Graham Barton. We knew Tampa Bay was looking for a center, and probably and this guy's a flexible offensive lineman too. He can play other positions, and that's going to work out real good for Tampa because somebody's got to protect Baker Mayfield. So you guys got a gem there, and I can't wait to see what Kalijah Yancey and Savassier Dennis are going to do this year. Are my pick guys, and then you got
Yeah,
Jordan
and you
White
know what?
back too.
They're hoping that Chancey that he can be healthy for the whole season. Because once
Yeah.
he got healthy, man, oh man,
Oh,
he
I saw a couple games. Yes, I saw a couple games where he was right in the quarterback's face, and I mean he was just making hay. But you're right, you can't help the club if you're in the tub. I mean that's it's that simple. So
and the problem is, Ralph, a lot of people blame these guys. You know what? Are you hurt or are you injured? If you're hurt, you play because everybody's hurt. But if
right,
you're injured, you can't play. And it's not, you try to get injured, it happens. I mean, people break bones. I hate when, the media goes, well, he can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy because somebody's beating him up. That's
yeah,
part of the game.
exactly, yeah. All right, next we got Arizona once again, who I thought had probably the best draft. Darius Robinson, edge rusher, Missouri. I thought that was a good pick for them. Arizona needs a lot of help. Jonathan Gannon's a defensive guy, and he got offensive help. Marvin Harrison Jr. for Kyler Murray and James Conner, and now he's got a good edge rusher here. So we'll
And
see
you know
where
what,
Arizona
Ralph?
goes.
They finally got smart out in Arizona and said, you know what? Kyler Murray's our guy. We're not going to trade him away. We're not going to do what the Bears did and throw
Yeah.
Fields to
Oh,
the
the
to the.
Bears threw Fields to the Wolves, but the Steelers were fortunate. The bad news is they didn't take his fifth-year option, and I don't know what they're going to do with him now that they didn't do his fifth-year option, and they didn't do the fifth-year option on Najee Harris, our top running back, either. But I'm hearing stories now that they're going to try to franchise one or both of them. So we're going to find out how that works. Okay.
Yep.
So all right. Next, let me see here. Who do I have here? It was Buffalo. Oh man! Oh, Kansas City. Xavier Worthy, wide receiver, Texas. What do you think of that pick by KC?
They got Tariq Hill 2.0.
Yeah,
Got a guy extremely fast. Played at Georgia. Played at Texas. Uh, the Chiefs led the league in drops last year,
yes, they
29
did.
by their wide receivers. So
Yes,
yeah, they needed.
including Kelsey, who has done nothing since he's hooked up with Taylor Swift until the Super Bowl.
I think he's done something, maybe off the field, but
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later. But
right.
yeah, the fact that he just lines up means the defensive coordinator has to account for him every single play. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Yeah.
just as long as he lines up there. Now you're probably going to have to double team him. So now you're playing 9-on-9, which is what you want.
Well, I got to say this: Kansas City, they had the Taylor Swift distraction, went to the Super Bowl. Now this year they got the stadium distraction. Now I hear that they want to move out because KC's not willing to step up and pay for a stadium. So let's find out what happens with that now. So you got some kind of drama again with KC Chiefs.
Well,
So
you know what, Ralph? These owners better realize real quick that the days of the free stadiums are OVER finished. It's not
yes,
happening. I don't care where you are. People are
no,
not going to give you tax money unless you are going to get at least 50% of it. I'm not going to build you a house and let you live in it for nothing. You know
right.
what? Those days are over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had a tax thing that they put out for a referendum. They put out for a vote. Everybody voted it down. They scrambled to make to get this money to get both of the ballpark for the Pirates and the new stadium for the Steelers, because the original plan was the Steelers were going to do the Buffalo model. They were going to keep Three River Stadium and just keep rebuilding it and adding seating and all that. And the city was going to sell it to the Steelers and let them do whatever they wanted with it. You understand what I'm saying? And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, the Rooney said, wait a minute, they're getting a ballpark. I want a new stadium. So that's how that happened. And now I'm
Yeah.
hearing some of the stadiums that were built the same time Heinz Field was built are now asking for new stadiums already. So, I mean, All right,
Yeah,
Dallas.
you could ask all you want, Ralph. It ain't happening. Not
Oh,
now.
Look at Oakland,
Yeah.
California. You
Yeah.
know,
But
those people
there's not a
take
whole lot of places. Not a whole lot of places to go anymore. You can go to
no.
St. Louis, you can go to Oakland, but other than that,
I think St. Louis would be a good
oh,
expansion team. Look at the Battlehawks for the UFL. They sold out all their games. They're averaging 30,000+ in
yeah.
at the old arena where the Rams used to play.
Yep.
So all right, next number 29, Dallas, Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle, Oklahoma. Smoking Jim Frazier, my co-host, said he's a bum. What do you think?
I wouldn't call him a bum. Just The
He
guy's
says,
got
"I
some
hope the
skills.
Steelers don't take him because he's a bum." That's what he said.
Yeah, the guy. Yeah, he's got some skills. Just got to see it.
Right.
And again,
Yeah, he's
I
another raw
learned.
player. Yeah.
Yeah, but you work from the ball out. You know,
Yeah.
offensive line, quarterback, receivers, running backs. That's how you work on offense. Because
Yeah.
I don't care what you got. The three things you need to have a good offense and have a good quarterback is you have to have a good offensive line, a really good running game, and a great tight end that can get down the middle. If you got that, your quarterback's going to look good. But if you don't, and again, it starts with the offensive line. It starts and stops there. And teams are starting
Right.
to realize that. Ralph, if you look at the first 12 picks, and I'm going to toot my own horn and pat myself on the back here. I went on your show.
Right.
I didn't tell you. I said 6 quarterbacks are going to get drafted, no doubt.
And they
I
did.
went on ESPN last Monday, week ago Monday, before the draft. I said, before the 20th pick, 6 quarterbacks, 4 wide receivers will be gone. Well, by number 12, the 6 quarterbacks were gone, 3
Yes.
wide receivers, and 3 offensive tackles. What does that tell you? That's the positions that are most important: tackle, wide receiver, quarterback. Now, that 4th wide receiver didn't fall at 20. He fell at 23. But I'll tell you what, I was all over that. That just the quarterbacks were coming. And teams are looking at this year saying, okay, I don't see anybody on the horizon that's
For
as
next
good
year. Yes,
as these
exactly.
guys. Yeah, you
Right.
got uh, Umagali, who's now
Whatever
wherever.
his
He's
name.
not
Yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah.
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 So that's
And you got
about
two of his,
it.
you got two of his
Other than
brother,
that,
I
it's
think,
crazy.
still out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, two of his brothers still playing. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so anyway, all right, let's get back to we're finish up the draft here. Ravens, Nate Wiggins. He's a corner, or I believe, or wait, Nate Wiggins, he's a or cornerback,
Clemson.
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 Yeah, right.
Yeah. He made the draft when he made that play uh, against North Carolina, where he ran down the running back, knocked the ball out on the goal line, and it went out of bounds, and Clemson got the ball. He also
Wow.
had an interception in the play. I tell you what, the kid will stick his nose in. He'll make tackles, and he's used to seeing that spread offense. So he can play man, which is
Right,
what you're looking for now in the NFL.
right. Okay, next, San Fran. And now this guy, I looked at some draft publications and online, was supposed to go in the middle rounds, ended up in the first round. Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver, Florida.
It got to a point, Ralph, where the wide receivers were so far off the board. Normally, you would get, a Thomas down that low.
Yeah,
You would
right.
get somebody. Uh, you know, again, he's probably going to play right away. And if he
Yeah.
plays right away, I don't care whether you predict
Well,
him
he's
in the
in the right
first, second.
system. He's in the
Yeah.
right
Oh,
system.
yeah.
With Shanahan, there's no question there.
Yeah.
So I think he'll make it. But like I said, here was a guy I thought the Steelers could get in the middle round, and he was drafted in the first round. Kind of, to me, it was a head scratcher. But if I know San Francisco and I know Kyle Shanahan, he'll have him playing
Oh,
on Sunday.
and if I know John Lynch, if there's anybody who can tell,
John Lynch don't play no games. You know
no,
that. Yeah.
can you play? Yeah. I can remember, Ralph, you're going to love this story real quick. When John Lynch was broadcasting, he was doing a Tampa Bay game. He walked by. I said, John, could you play in the NFL right now with the rules they have with the defense? Expletive deleted? No.
No.
No. And I'll tell you what.
Give me that one linebacker.
Yeah.
What was the one linebacker's name? He was in the movie The Longest Yard. Gosh, I can't remember his name for the life of me. He was a dirty player too. Oh man, who the heck was that? The white guy. He was a linebacker. He was in The Longest Yard. Not the Burt Reynolds one, the one with Adam Sandler. Oh, I can't remember his damn name for the life of me. But he was a dirty linebacker. I can't remember who. I think he played for may have played for Dallas or somebody. But oh my, him and John Lynch, man. You know what I
They
mean?
went after you. And you know what, Ralph, real quick, I know we got to get off, but that ban on the hip toss tackle, that'll be gone by Thanksgiving or sooner.
Yeah. There's
Because
no doubt about it.
if you come in from the side, you don't have an option. you got to grab on and try to take them down and use your weight. And I'll tell
Right.
you what, if they don't do that, guess where the target's going to be? The knees. And
Yes.
receivers, running backs, they're not going to like it. And I'm telling you right now, this was a dumb move by the NFL. It's going to cause major injuries. And the people who decided on this obviously never played a down of college or pro football because,
This is stupid. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, how do you tackle a guy if you're coming in from the
Stupid
side?
never takes a vacation. So,
No, and you can't fix it, can you, Ralph?
no. All right, one more. Carolina Panthers, your guy there, Dave Canellis. I don't know why he ever took this job. Xavier Leckett, wide receiver, South Carolina.
I'll tell you what, the kid's got skills. I
Okay.
saw that against Clemson last year, saw that against Clemson this year. He's got a skill. And I like what Canales is doing. They traded up in the first round because they had to get a wide receiver. If Bryce Young is the guy, you got to put some weapons around him. And I would bet the mortgage that Canales looked the owner in the eye and said, "How long do I have?" And I guarantee you, he said, "You have at least 3, maybe 4 years." Because if he'd have said, "I want this to happen now," if I was Canales, I'd have got up and said, "Thank you for your time, and I'm getting back on the plane." So, yeah,
All right.
that's
Okay,
crazy. And
Leo, great having you again. And we're down to 3 of us now. JT Toth informed me today or yesterday that his schedule is too demanding for him to be on the show. He'll come on occasionally when he can, but he can't be a permanent. So it's just you, me, and Scott now. So
well, you know what? Maybe one of my guys want to rotate in, like Dave
yeah,
Alexander or Ken Podolak or
yeah,
that. Let's talk about that. All right?
yeah, we can do that. Sure, they can rotate in and out. We can do that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We call it the amped up sports pinch hitter.
yeah, exactly. There you go. There you go. All right, Leo. Talk to you in the morning for telling it like it is. We'll be talking some more sports tomorrow morning at 10:30. Join us here on our social media platforms. Leo, thank you again. I'll talk with you at 10:30 tomorrow morning.
Will do. And hey, I'm glad you're feeling better, buddy.
I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm still stiff and sore. I got my physical therapist coming here too. So, so we'll see
All
what's
right.
going on. All
Get
right.
well,
But
my brother.
thank you.
Take
I
care.
appreciate that, Leo. You have a great one. Say hello to Peter Blake and them guys for me.
I will do that. Take care,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Bye.
All right. That was Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports and another one of our sponsors for all my shows, all my sports related shows, including the Sports Corner radio show. And they also have several times have had guests on the show with their knowledge of different teams. As part of our 32 team spectacular, I'm having somebody from all 32 teams come on and talk about the team this year in the NFL. It's something great, something different, something to do with. All right, for Leo Haggerty and Scott Morganroth, who's still enjoying his vacation, his time off. I'm Ralph Williams. Have a great one. Talk with you next week.
Find your way back to her heart. Find your way back. Find your way back to her heart. Leave a message with the rain. can find me where the wind blows. Snow across the pane, and the frost to burn the heart. You got no place to be. Still you wonder where you're going. Where to be? I hear birds and it said to me, find your way back. Find your way back to her heart. Find your way back. Find your way back to her heart. To her heart. But I wish I could go back in time and start all over somehow and get it right from the start. Find a way back. Find a way back to her heart.